Welcome to the Coming Home podcast. I am your host, Dr. Onalee, and I am so freaking blessed and excited. We have a beautiful guest here, Brooke Jean, one of my friends that I met in a group coaching container, and we just hit it off. We just freaking connected. She is such a safe space. I was just telling her this before we got on here. She keeps it so real. She is just so authentic. We're going to see where it flows, but I want to first start us with a meditation just to get us into our heart, set an intention, and we will
Mm,
go from there. Sounds good?
that is so perfect, and I'm so grateful to be here with you, babe.
Yes, me too. Let's just take that deep breath in and close our eyes. Don't do this if you're driving, obviously, but just setting this intention to come home to your heart right now and be in this present moment.
Mm,
We were just saying the world is a little crazy right now, and we're all going through it to some capacity, and it can feel really freaking heavy. So let this be your moment where you just soften and
wow.
just melt and just get connected to your own wisdom, your own guidance. The intention for us here is to have this conversation, to stop being so hard on ourselves, stop trying to be so perfect, remembering that this is all temporary, anyways. Why are we worried so much? Why are we stressed? There
Mm,
could be one thing that comes up in this conversation that clicks, it locks in. So trust your intuition, trust your guidance. And the more present you are, I know some of your answers are going to come through to you. So it's such an honor to be here. I'm so grateful for what's about to flow through. When you're ready, when you're in your heart, just open your eyes
mm,
and let's welcome Brooke to the show.
mm.
Hi,
That is the
babe.
best way to start. That is the best way to start. Can I tell you why?
Tell me.
Because it's like it's just so like on brand. It's like right now more than ever, like you were saying. The world is noisy right now, right? The world is noisy and our access, like our accessibility to that noise is just like over the top. And I'm feeling like now more than ever, there's a real call for women specifically, but all humans, women specifically, to drop the stories, the narratives, the identities, the protective parts and really come home to their heart. And we need powerful women remembering who they really are, what they really want, and living, leading, and creating from their heart. And so, what a beautiful way to start even a conversation to be like, am I in my head or am I in my heart? Because I always default to head. I mean, if there's anybody listening that's a type A, perfectionistic, tends to run a little high on the anxiety spectrum, we default to head, but it's like now more than ever, like in all of our conversations, whether it's with our families, our loved ones, our community, our clients, it's like, baby, drop out of the head, drop into the heart, because like that's where the truth is that's going to unlock new outcomes that I think we're all desiring in the world right now. So, what a great way to kick off.
Absolutely. It's a signature. I don't care where I'm speaking. As best I can remember, I like to start us off that way and just drop us into our heart. Our heads are full of lies and craziness, and the answers really are within this beautiful body. If we give it a space and tune into a conversation like this, it wants to talk to us, and it is, but we gotta listen to it and have a space for us to hear it. So I'm glad that you are on board with that.
Totally. Absolutely. Beautiful.
And what we were talking about too before we went ahead and hit record, and I'm double checking. I'm like, I did hit record, right?
I think
I
so.
did.
Yes, because
I
I clicked
did.
the little OK button, girl. We're
Okay,
good.
good.
We're good.
I have a little even sticky note too to make sure I actually
No,
do it.
I can't tell you how many
I
times. And
know.
I'm like, that juicy, epic combo cannot even be replicated. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
It can't. So yes, we're good, babe. We're
And I was
good.
thinking, because it's like we're just flowing, we're having a conversation. That's what we were doing before. That's why I was like, did I even hit record? Because we just got into it and we were talking about, you were saying you were up till 2 a.m. You had some red eyes, but we're still here and we show up. And that's like one of the main reasons with bringing you on and the way I wanted the conversation to kind of flow into is that we're dropping the perfectionism. And I think we can, so I know I can, or us as humans compared to other people who look like, oh my gosh, well, of course, Brooke Jean has it together. She's a therapist, she's a mom, and look at her beautiful background. And it's like, I want these conversations where it's, you have life show up too. And you
Mhm.
do what you need to do, but you show up, but it is not perfect. And that's like when I think of you and the authenticity piece, like that's what I think of. So,
I love that because that authenticity, it's like it used to just be like a cool buzzword, but it's actually like a spiritual call. It's deep for me. It's profound. Yeah, I was up till 2 stressing about the world. And you guys, if you could have seen my bloodshot eyeballs, I was like, okay, this is not cool. So I'm like late putting in eye drops, but that imperfection isn't going to stop me from still showing up heart open to the things that I have on my calendar today that I'm genuinely excited to be a part of. And I think all too often, women specifically, we will stop before we even start because it's not perfect enough, or we don't have a fully formulated theory, belief, or thought about it, or whatever. And it's like, we need our voices now more than ever, like in the messy middle, as we're navigating unprecedented times, as we're navigating the hard things that it means to be human and the opportunities that we have right now to create something beautiful. So I am tired. feel like I have two brain cells that are barely connecting,
mhm.
but I trust my heart and I trust my spirit that this will be good enough. And good enough is the place where like we expand beyond our wildest dreams.
Yes. Yes. I think too the perfectionism thing, especially with schooling. I used to be so paranoid of a freaking typo, and now if you look at my emails, they are sometimes I proofread them more often than not. I don't, but that used to hinder me so much. And I know so many women, especially, can relate to that. But especially you being a very educated woman, a smart woman, professional woman, if you can just touch on that to just really show up no matter what and know any guidance you have if somebody is like really paranoid about even the typos and didn't sleep well enough and just what would you say to her so that she can keep showing up?
Yeah, I would first get curious about why you're trying so hard for that specific thing and why it matters so much to you. So in my experience, like you mentioned, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, I'm a mom, I have a podcast. In all of these years that I've been myself in personal development in the healing world and been guiding women home to themselves, it's like it's an illusion, right? We have this illusion that if we have the perfect email, it's gonna what? If we have the perfect body, it's gonna what? If we have the perfect Instagram live. And so first it starts with like, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? This perfect email. And then, like, why does that matter so much to me? Because in that questioning with curiosity, no judgment, boo boo, you're going to start to understand all of these lies that you've
Mm.
like started to believe that are no longer relevant. Like maybe
Yes.
when we were in 6th grade or 8th grade or 12th grade, our punctuation on our paper mattered because our grades mattered. But like now, as a 44-year-old woman, I'm like, I don't even know why I cared so much about grades, honestly. And it doesn't actually matter. What matters is the energy and the essence behind the email. And if it's in alignment with me and my truth and my heart, and therefore God, Mother Nature, the universe, whatever you believe in, then if it's truth, then it can't go wrong. That's what
Wow.
I believe. So it's leaning in and getting curious of like, I'm obsessing over this, my body, or what, how I presented in the meeting. It's like, well, why? And not taking the first answer like, well, because I want to be successful. Yes, but why so much pressure? Why? And then you're going to unearth some of the lies that have become beliefs that your protective part, because I believe that perfectionism is actually a protective part. It's a very highly intelligent part of you that learns somewhere that if I was just good enough, if I was better, the best, perfect, I would be safe, I would be lovable, I would be accepted. And so we're talking to a part of you that is infinitely intelligent, but we want to get really curious about like her motives and why and what, so that you can basically love her back to her seat at what I call your CEO table of life, which is not the director, not the CEO, not the leader. But when we get scared, when we're doing something new, different, our protective parts tend to try to run the show, but we don't want to shame them. We want to get curious, like, girl, what does it matter, my love? And is that in alignment with our values now?
Wow. Oh my gosh, there's so much gold I feel like I can extract from that. I need to go back and listen to that at least 10 times. I feel like you could apply that to anything, just the getting curious and asking. But you hit the nail on the head of, does that matter now? Or is it
Yes.
that sixth grader in me turning in my essay and I'm going to get a bad grade and then I'm going to get grounded and where that spirals out? Because now it's like, who's the police? Like, who
Yeah,
is
according to who?
right?
I love asking that. Like, it needs to be
Mm,
perfect. According to who?
yes.
Because God already sees us as good enough, right? Like according to who? And that's not to say, because one of the biggest fears that women will have when they come to me and they're ready to let go of the anxiety, the obsession, the intensity, the pressure, the perfectionism, they're like, but will I still be great? And I'm
Mm.
like, yes, because instead of spending your precious energy on perfecting, which isn't even real, there is no end goal to perfection. Trust me, I tried. The ceiling keeps rising, y'all. Like it's a never-ending story, okay? All that energy that you're putting into the perfect whatever it is, when you reclaim that back and pour it into yourself and then into the couple of things that matter the most to you, which are your values, then those things become even more potent. So, no, I might not have a grammatically correct email or perfect email, but that's not even what I value. I value impact. So now I reclaim
Mm.
my energy that I was spending over something that isn't important to me anymore. And I go inward and I go potency, potency, impact, impact. So, and because you're in alignment, you actually get there a lot faster.
Even
So,
as you're,
yeah.
yeah. Even as you're saying that impact, that's intuitively what I was saying. One thing that's helped me with healing some of the perfectionism, which yes, there's always more layers to to peel back, is focusing on the service. So even this podcast, if I were nervous for this or I didn't want to get on or the head's going crazy, the energy, I didn't sleep well, all the things. It's like I focus on why we're even doing that. And that in itself can help me get out of the perfection. And that's guidance I have for a lot of my clients too when they're feeling nervous for or not good enough or not prepared or who am I to do that? It's like you're doing it for at least one person. You're doing it for someone outside of yourself. So I wonder if there's anything along the lines of that you help your clients with. But I know that that's
Yes.
landed for me as like, it's not even about
Yes.
you. It's about being of service.
It's 100%. It's like, A, I trust that we have been divinely orchestrated to have this conversation for a reason bigger than whatever my ego and nonsense stories can tell me.
Yeah, I
Okay?
agree.
Way bigger than, oh, I don't know how many people will listen to it and share it, whatever. And then, so that helps me chill the beep out. Then, second, it's like, if one person feels seen, heard, recognized, or feels like compelled to move, that's it. That is it. And then if that can't even happen, I know that you and I will grow with each other from this conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
like you can't lose. You can't lose. And the only way we would have lost is if we would have decided not to do it because of whatever X, Y, and Z reason we're not ready, prepared enough, good enough, feeling good enough. It's, I used to make myself sick preparing for things, girl.
Yes. Same. No,
And
that's what I
then
want to
I'm
talk
like,
about.
and then talk about an awkward presenter. It's like, A, I almost shit my pants on the way here because I'm so anxious. And B, I'm so in my head that I'm actually starting to have an out of body experience where I'm not even present in what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just have these talks that I would be like, what even was that? And now instead, it's like, what can I do to nourish myself because I didn't have enough sleep? And what can I do to
Mm,
not abandon my self-care that I know will help me, like my morning meditation and my journaling and whatever. And then it's literally like trusting
mm.
and knowing that it's not about the performative aspect of what it looks and sounds like. It's about what's coming from my heart, which is a true desire to relieve women of this pressure to be perfect that doesn't even exist.
Yes. Even as you're sharing that, there's so many things, even getting on here, right? Like 5 minutes before, I thought I bought this foundation. I was like, oh, I ran out of foundation. I want to do my makeup before the thing. It's like 5 minutes before. I'm like, oh, I left it in the car. I was like, I'm not going to go to the car and go grab it. And I let it go. And I'm like, okay, it's a non-makeup one and that's okay. And then I went in my bathroom. I'm like, oh, there it is. And I did have it. But the point here is beforehand, it's like it will be how it is. It's not so big about the makeup, the not makeup. But even more than that, I wanted to share. It's like, yes, before a podcast interview or being interviewed, the whole morning I would be sick to my stomach. I'd be nervous. What am I going to say? What am I going to ask her? And now it's at a point after repetition, after letting go of the perfectionism, that it's just I can do a prayer. We can get on here. We can have a conversation. We can do it. But it's like, don't let that stop you in the beginning if that's how you feel. Like you grow into it after repetitions and doing it. Because I know some people can look, I could never do that, or I'm too nervous, or whatever. It's like, you grow into it. You do it many times and you let go of it. And after I learned this from our mutual mentor. After any speaking engagement or anything you do, you're always going to think of ways you, in quotes, could have done better. That's not going anywhere. That's always going to be with us. So give it your best, but know that sometimes when we're looking at people where we think, oh my God, they have it together, it's
Mm.
like they've probably put a lot of reps into it and a
Mhm.
lot of trial and error. And there was probably a phase where they were super nervous and super overthinking, but they overcame it. And that's why they're here because they didn't give up. So that kind of came through of like, to allow yourself to grow into it by doing it more and more and more and not letting it stop you of what a product looks like years down the road.
Exactly. Like just start. And I want the listeners to take a moment to think about this for a second. Like, what would be possible for you? What would be available for you in your life if you gave yourself permission to just show up and be you and know truly deep down because your intention is good?
Mm-hmm.
If your intention isn't good, honey, we got some different work to do. Okay? No judgment, but if your intention is good, what would be available for you in your life and your leadership, your dreams, your family, if you knew you could show up, be you, unapologetically you, and it was good enough?
Mm.
What would be available if you gave yourself permission to just show up, just start, just do the darn thing? And be you, not trying to be what you've seen on social media and it looks this way. Be you, and you knew deep down like it was good enough. That is the kind of worthiness healing that I like to guide women through because it's changed my life. Like instead of being worried, is it going to be good enough, how does it look, how it sounds, now I get to just like turn my attention inward, get present in my body, and trust. It will resonate with some, it won't resonate with others. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about, did I show up authentic, heart open, and can it help one person? And we are so winning at life when we can start to be in that embodiment.
Yes.
But yeah, also just start and practice, dude. Like I've been talking in front of people for 20 years and I'm still not great at it. I'm good enough though. I'm good enough
Yeah.
to help someone, right?
And the biggest piece I'm taking from it, it's like your intention is right. So whatever comes out is it's good enough. It's perfect. That's what it's about.
Literally. We're getting in our own way
Mm.
of making the moves that we need to make to get where we want to go because we're disqualifying ourselves before we even started. And
Yeah.
now that's coming from your protective parts that are like, don't do that. You're vulnerable. You might get made fun of. You might have some hate online. You might. La, 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 la. Thank you for bringing that to my awareness, protective part. Thank you. but you don't decide how I live my life. My higher self, what I call the inner CEO, she's not worried about what it looks like. She's worried about being in alignment.
Mm.
And so that's where we make decisions from. But so many of us are letting these protective parts literally drive the bus of our lives. And then we're frustrated that we're not getting where we want to go, which is perpetuating whatever disempowering narrative you had in the first darn place.
And what I'm fascinated with is these protective parts. They're trying to protect us from potential vulnerability, shame, embarrassment, all the things,
Yep.
even though it could lead us to our greatest joy and passion, desire. It sounds like you just have a conversation with them. You witness them, you acknowledge them. What else do you feel like is necessary to not let them be driving the bus and to get the higher self, that inner CEO? Like how do we get her to take the steering wheel? Like what are some practical tips, tools to do that?
Yeah, this is deep work, y'all.
I love it.
So any baby step, even if you take this and like journal on it, you're killing it in life, okay? Because it's first of all starting to get to know and identify your protective parts. So we have managers and firefighters. Managers are the ones that want to control things so we can be safe. Firefighters are the ones that are going to burn the effing house down so we don't have to feel the impermissible feelings
Mm,
like shame, rejection, abandonment. So that's the addiction part of me. That is the rage part. Like she will literally. That's the one that wants to run away and like start over every like 6 to 9 months, right?
yes.
So you want to get to know them and thank them
Mm,
because they've done like I'm where I'm at in my life in part because of that perfectionistic driver who makes shit happen. So thank you. Put
mm,
flowers at her feet. The second thing is reconnecting to your higher self. So in IFS, they call it the self with a capital S. In the spiritual community, you might call it spirit, soul, higher self. And in my body of work, it's called the inner CEO. So many of us have like just disconnected from that queen. We have forgotten that we're already whole. We have
mm.
forgotten how extraordinary we are. We have forgotten that everything is unfolding for us and that we can trust ourselves and the universe's timing. Like, so that is all about like authenticity work and like remembering who you are before the world told you who to be and embodying her more and more and more in every day. And then the third piece is that we actually want to face the feelings that we've been avoiding our entire life.
Mm,
So, like, the thing that I say a lot is if I no longer fear my shame. So, shame is like the yuckiest feeling to feel. We will do anything, honey, to not feel shame. Okay. But once you have the tools and you have, the supports, if I'm willing to sit in the ugliest and darkest parts of my shame, then what is there to fear in my life?
yeah.
Because everything that I'm doing that's not good for me, that's out of alignment, is to avoid feeling shame. But if I'm not afraid of my shame anymore, I don't need to avoid it anymore. I can sit with it. I can work it through my body somatically. Okay. I can cry it out, talk it out, journal it out, twerk it out, dance it out, whatever your method is, right? I teach all these things. Then we heal the child that never felt those feelings, the inner child that never felt those feelings. So it's kind of a three-part process: getting to know your protectors, reconnecting to your inner CEO, and then once you have like the strength, you're a healthy adult, your inner CEO can feel the feelings that your child has been stuffing your whole life and make her feel safe with you again.
Even as you're saying this, I'm wondering people who do have a lot of shame, a lot of the darker, just heavier kind of feelings and frequencies, do you feel they attract certain kind of relationships that trigger that so they can have a better opportunity to heal it? Or
Mm.
I'm wondering if that's linked or because like it's why they attract narcissistic kind of people or people who might be abusive or just I always wonder that. I always like to think everything's working out for our greatest good, right? So trying to make sense of why attracting them. And one way I've tried to make some sense is sometimes thinking that that's a character in your story. It does bring up your stuff, not to stay in the relationship with them, but to help you heal some of the stuff that was buried when you were a child. Here it is. Now we can do it. I wonder your
Yeah.
perspective or anything like that. Because a lot of my audience, at least at the time of this recording, they do struggle with narcissistic or just unhealthy relationship dynamics, like where their stuff comes to the surface and love can feel painful.
Yeah. So that is such a deep, juicy question. And I think there's so much to like unpack and there probably isn't a one size
Hmm.
fits all answer. What I know right now, based on
Yeah.
my experience, is that relationships are mirrors and they are going to mirror for you the part in you that's ready to level the F up and heal.
Yes. Okay.
Now, shame itself, I don't believe that shame is attracting the narcissistic partner. It's your belief in the
Mm.
shame story and therefore the actions that you take from that belief that make you available. There's also parts of you that want to correct a childhood experience. So maybe you had a narcissistic parent and you're subconsciously choosing a narcissist in hopes to heal the child parent relationship. So we know now that
Hmm.
why we choose the partners we choose is so we can heal a disruption in our
Yeah.
childhood, or I believe it could even be past lives. So you're attracted to that person because there's a part of you that wants to make right whatever hurt you had from a similar dynamic
Yes.
before. And also, we hear a lot about empaths and the narcissist. So I don't want you to disempower yourself and say, well, because I have shame, I'm attracting a narcissist. It's like also because you're an empath, which is an
Mm.
effing superpower.
Hmm.
You're just placing it in the wrong dynamic. And so those are just some of the thoughts that I have as of right now, babe. And I know it's not like the perfect answer with the perfect explanation, but relationships are definitely mirrors. We choose them to fix previous hurts, and you can have shame and still attract an extraordinary partner. It's just we don't
Okay.
want to be believing the shame stories and embodying the I'm unworthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough. Because then, yeah, you're going to tend to go for the partner that makes you feel otherwise, which is what narcissists are really good at in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. No, I feel like my therapist calls it unfinished business.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
That's
I'm
it.
wondering from your perspective with the unfinished business, to not have to need it to play out with this person to try to correct it.
It
If I
doesn't.
was to do it without needing that, what would be a way to heal that kind of dynamic so it doesn't have to keep physically playing out in relationship? Is it just accepting, the unfinished business with a parent, for example, loving myself, whatever I didn't get from them? I'm wondering what your take is on that so we don't have to keep going in those empath narcissist dynamics to try to finish the business. How can we do it without them? Or like what's the
Yes.
first step or a direction to go in?
Yeah. So the first step is again meeting that part of you with love and kindness and compassion and exploring the unmet needs that you are trying to finish the business with. And then your inner CEO, your higher self, your adult self gives that part what you didn't get when you were growing up. So,
Ooh.
like a lot of times, like one of the things that I always wanted was to feel special. And I didn't feel that way. And that's part of where my perfectionism, well, if I'm just, this and that, maybe I'll be special. And so my inner CEO, my higher self, my adult self, she like gets on a knee and looks my inner child in the eye and tells her all the time. Like you are so special, you are so rare and unique, and you are enough. Like I pour into her. And then I also do the same for my daughter. So I consciously try to just dump into my daughter's head that she is enough, that she is lovable, that she is special, that she is kind. And every time I parent her, it heals a part of my inner child.
Mm.
So that's one way you can do it. You know, it's the self-healing. It's letting one part reparent another part. And eventually, if you, so your brain can't distinguish between I learned this when I was 6 versus I learned this when I was 44. So if you repeat to yourself, I am worthy, I am special, I am rare, I am awesome, whatever the thing is that you want to believe about yourself, if you really like close your eyes and imagine it and connect to the feeling and say it over and over and over, eventually it's going to drop into your subconscious as truth. And your brain doesn't go, well, that was truth then, but it's truth now. Your brain just goes, this is the current truth. I am special. But it does take time and repetition and emotional intensity to overwrite the old beliefs and to create the new ones. But start by looking at how you're talking to yourself. You're not telling yourself you're special. You're criticizing the way your butt looks in those jeans and you're ruminating over how you handled that presentation. And so let's start by cleaning up the self-talk because it's feeding the disempowering narrative versus actually, I'm proud of myself. Actually, how brave of me to show up and do that. Actually, I love this effing body.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm freaking
Yes.
special, bitch. There is no other Brooke Jean, period.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need data because you're a cerebral person to back what I'm saying, it's this. There was a 1 in 400 trillion chance that you were born. 1 in 400. Can you actually try to understand that number? Just for funsies, winning the lottery is 1 in 300 million. There was a 1 in 400 trillion chance that you, specifically you, are here on earth at this time. You're going to try to tell me you're not special? You're going to try to tell me you're not here on purpose? I just can't subscribe to that with that data. So you actually are special. It's crazy. And any woman that's tried to get pregnant and is struggling, you know how miraculous it is. And so you were born. That is miraculous. You are a miracle. You are special. Now, whatever lessons that you learned growing up that aren't in alignment with that, which we all did, and it's not to blame our parents and to blame, oh, I'm done with that. I went through my anger phase. Now it's how do I fill myself up to believe the truth about who I am, which is I am worthy, I'm lovable, I'm enough.
Yes. You said something powerful of the lessons. I
Mm.
think that's what a lot of us go through is we all have different lessons, but at the end of the day, bringing us home to ourselves to discover that inherent truth. We are worthy. We are a freaking miracle. Something within us is keeping our heart beating. Something
Mm.
woke us up today. And I had to start to when I was healing a lot of unworthiness, of something woke me up and wants me to be here. So I'm meant to be here. I claim my seat or my space to walk on this planet and do my best and to not allow then people to determine if I'm worthy or not enough to be here based on what they might think. But that was a deep spiritual healing or awakening for me of something wants me here. So I'm going to make the most of it. And even as you were sharing that, I was getting images. My dad's from India and he's one of 10, and everyone else in his family is arranged marriage. He met my mom in Memphis, Tennessee, an American woman, went
Wow.
totally against the grain, had to
Wow.
step into so much courage. And it's like, the
Wow.
risks he took to bring me here. It took my mom 4 years to have me as
Wow.
well. And so
Wow.
it's just so fitting to this
Wow.
conversation. Like, who are we to say, like, we don't matter, we're
Enough.
not worthy, we don't have a purpose? Like, to me, it's like an FU to them of like what they went through to like make me and bring me here and to serve the world and do what I'm here to do. Like, yes.
Yes, this is so important. So that's such a cool story, and I love learning that piece about your
Mm-hmm.
story.
Right.
Um, when was I 19 or 20? I don't remember if I was 19 or 20. I got into a really bad car accident. Like for sure should have died. Like
Oh my
rolled in my
God.
car off the highway 3 times, rolling in a car at 3 a.m. with no seatbelt on. And like they found me in my trunk, and I
What?
walked out of the hospital that morning with just a little scratch on my back. No other injuries. Thank God I didn't hurt anyone else. And that was a real spiritual awakening for me of like, and I had been being so reckless with my life before that. Like I genuinely my behaviors were coming from a place of I don't really care if I live or die. Like whatever, you know? After that, girl, I was like, oh shoot. Like my angels, God saved me that night. I am supposed to be here. There is a reason. And what
Mm-hmm.
am I doing about that? And then further down the road, I realized it's not, well, what do I need to do because I'm still here? What do I need to do because it's a miracle I was born or I survived this incident? It's who do I need to be? And what I've learned is that our purpose, it's not about what you're doing, it's about remembering who you really are. And that is enough. Like that is the contribution. Was Brooke Jean remembering who she was underneath all of these habits, behaviors, patterns, limiting beliefs, traumas, trauma responses? Underneath all that is this like pure energy and just bringing that to the world in any capacity. That's why I'm here. And so I'm passionate about walking women home to theirs too, because it's not about what you do. Yeah, once you've connected to your truth and you've come home, just kind of by nature, the next thing is you want to create. Whether that's as a manager at Target, as a mother, as a volunteer, or as an entrepreneur, once you're in your truth and you're turned on like a damn Christmas tree, you're like, let's go. But it's a lot of times people feel like, okay, well, if I am, ooh, I'm just coming to something right now. Perhaps a lot of people are afraid to believe that they're that special and miraculous because of the pressure that then comes with, well, then who will I be? And what will I provide? And what will I do? And let me be the one that frees you of that. You don't have to do shit. You need to remember who you are and bring that frequency to the world. That's enough. That's your contribution. That's why you're here. And I believe many of us women chose to come here at this time so that we could lift the frequency of the frickin' planet through love, truth, connection, play, laughter, whatever your flavor is. Like my flavor of heart is different than a lot of people's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cuss, I'm crazy, I twerk, like, but it's joy nonetheless, right? I came here to remember that and to bring that frequency to the things that I do. That's enough. So if you're preventing yourself from believing that you're really that miraculous because you think it comes with pressure to do big things, no, it doesn't. It's just a journey of coming home to yourself. And it just so happens that when we do that, I don't know, cool things, doors start to open, right?
Yes, that was going to be my question pretty much is what do you feel like makes you feel most at home? Like what's your home frequency? And why do you feel you're so passionate about unperfected? Like, why is that what resonates with you and what you're here to bring to the world? So, if you have any closing thoughts on that, but I feel like, I mean, even just the way you share your authenticity, your expression of yourself, like, is the testament. Like, you are in your home version, but in your own words, anything that comes through.
Yeah. And this is something that's taken me a long time to really adopt and believe is safe, and I still grapple with it. Is my home frequency, honey, is a hot mess express and unpredictable. Okay? If anyone listening struggles with mental health issues, like, girl, I feel the most like myself, yes, when I'm like dancing and I am alive and I'm laughing and my body is turned on and turned up, like, or in the ocean, like I have specific pockets where I'm like, oh my God, there she is. But I was always chasing that pocket of feeling good and being quote unquote high vibe. And what I've learned is like that isn't actually high vibe. High vibe is meeting myself where I'm at day in and day out. And sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down and sometimes it's big energy and sometimes it's low energy. And sometimes it's this mood and sometimes it's that mood. It's letting myself be whatever I am without it even effing with my worthiness whatsoever.
Mm,
That's my home frequency. Meeting my arising as it arises instead of trying to make it be
wow.
what I learned as a little girl was favorable, happy, positive, joyful. I'm more happy, positive, and joyful when I let myself be what I am. Some days I am that naturally. Some days I want to hide and I don't want to do anything. And guess what? I let myself do that. So the home frequency is really authenticity, and that's what unperfected is about. It's unsubscribing from these ideals that in order to find love, I need to be high vibe, and in order to be a mom, I need to be so nurturing, and in order to be a successful entrepreneur, I need to be blah, 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 blah. No, none of that is actually applicable here. What's applicable is you remembering who you are and building a life and structures and like how you spend your time, energy, and sanity in accordance to that.
Yes.
But it's hard sometimes. I fall into the same traps as everyone else. Like, what's the best strategy? What's the new funnel? What's
Mm-hmm.
the, I need to show up and be blah. Like, I came into this conversation like probably at a one on a scale of 0 to 10. But in letting myself be where I was, in naming it with you right out of the gates, right now I'm at probably a 6, 7, or 8. That's the home frequency. Meeting yourself where you are and letting it be enough and riding those waves up and down and sideways and spirals. Like there's so much beauty and enoughness in that.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That was amazing.
Oh my God. And like unperfected, why I became so passionate about that girl is because I had two babies and they're 14 years apart. So I had my first son in college and then I had my girl 14 years later. And like I was like up in the middle of the night nursing with like legit suicidal thoughts, which as a therapist I knew were not mine. They were the postpartum because I was like, I had noticed the expectations on the modern woman and the modern mom had amplified beyond because there wasn't the internet and there wasn't so many podcasts and blogs on how to be the perfect everything. There's so much more pressure. Like women were working, we're still doing everything, just adding on more. And I zoomed out like in the middle of the night and I was like, I'd seen this like in my mind's eye, this like rise in the expectation of the modern mom. And then it paralleled a rise in our mental health struggles. We were drinking more than men. We were having like, we were just like
For
off the
sure.
charts, girl. And I was like, it's because we're trying to do the impossible and this is actually dumb. What are we doing? And I made a
Yes.
conscious decision. I was going to unsubscribe from all the perfection ideals, being the perfect wife, mom, body, voice, blah, 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 blah. And I was going to instead figure out what I valued most and let that 1 to 3 things be the guiding light of my life and my parenthood and my motherhood and my marriage and blah, blah. And that's where the brand Unperfected was born. It was my journey of like, what are we doing, dude? Seriously, impossible, right? And my journey to like saying no to all the stuff, but then remembering like, okay, what I value is like purpose, playfulness, and pleasure. And like that's what's going to guide how I spend my time, how I interact with my kids, what I do, what I don't do. I can't care about having like a gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, dye-free homemade meal 7 nights a week at the table. If that's something that you love, go off, queen.
Oh,
I
yes.
would rather take a picnic to the park and be outside in nature and laugh and be silly. Like we get to decide what matters to us. And that's exactly what our children need, our clients need, our partners need, our teams need. But first, you have to unsubscribe from these ideals. And that's
Yes.
what the brand is all about.
I everything you say, I feel I stand for. I say it in different ways, but we're speaking the
Yes.
same language. And that's what's beautiful. Like you'll resonate too, especially with mothers and whatnot. This is why we all need to share our thing. Ultimately, we're on a similar mission, helping people rise to their highest frequency, their most unique self, but we all say it in different
Yes.
ways. I say too, if I give you the advice, go play the guitar, that might not resonate with somebody who's not good at guitar, but that could be the exact thing that that person who loves guitar and feels lit up with is. So you got to know what is the thing that makes you feel at home and not just blindly following, well, this person said to do this. I am so big on us discovering what our home frequency is, what makes us feel most alive. Some people might love dressing up and some people might love dressing down. Like, which makes you feel at home and then freaking own that. And that is a contribution. Who you're being in that frequency is going to affect and impact everyone, even if it's just one person, even if it's just your freaking self and just being that. It's like, look at that woman and her light. And it's a ripple effect, but I literally like can't think of a better guest for
Just
them.
the
Like you're
alignment.
literally,
Oh
yeah,
my God. Can I give them one final thing
absolutely,
to consider?
please.
It's like when people are like, well, I don't know what my home frequency is, or I don't know my authenticity. It's like, what did you love to do before you were 8 years old? Because at 8 is when we become conscious of other people's judgments.
Oh,
And there's also a bunch of data that shows that's when like 80 or 90% of artists drop off at 8 years old. And
wow,
in psychology and human growth and development, we learn that at 8, we become aware of other people's judgments and opinions.
interesting.
And so it's like before you were 8, when you didn't care how it looked, what were you doing for fun? Like I was frolicking in the ocean, boogie boarding. I was dressing up as Madonna and performing her entire album. I was making people laugh. I was like there are some nuggets of who you really are, of things that you loved to do before you had any awareness that people could have a judgment about it. Follow those cues, and you'll also start
Yes.
to heal your inner child when you do that as well.
That's so perfect. That's so much too of coming home means so many things to me, and that is one of them is our soul, our essence as we are children, like connecting back with that version. And so the way you said it is much more eloquent. But I know,
But
and coming
it
from
is
you.
it,
Yeah.
right? It's that, and it's like it looks different now. So I live in Colorado. I can't be on the beach, but you better believe an
Mm-hmm.
intention is to get my fanny in the ocean 4 times a year. I might not be dressing up as Madonna in all her looks and performing an entire album, but now I talk on stages and I podcast and I have in my group therapy or group coaching, like there's an element of fun performance to it
Yes.
where I
Yes.
get to bring that into my adult world. Like someday I will be on a stage on a book tour, and the actual thing is not going to be me just talking about the book. It's going to be like song and dance and crying and laughing and a whole like story being told. Like that's what I'm supposed to do because I loved doing it when I was 7.
Yes.
You
I
know? So
yes.
keep it in. If you loved music, it doesn't need to look exactly like how it looked either. Where, like I used to dance. I'm not dancing right now, but I'm taking a random class, and you better believe I'm dancing around the house all
I
day
can see it.
long. All day long in between clients, I am dancing. My daughter's like, "You're always dancing." So where can you take some of that and weave it into your world now? It might look different, but it's so potent for this, like coming home to yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I want to finish with what I used to do too is I always dressed up as well. So
Yes.
I would wear the lipstick too. And now look, I love to do that. I love the hats,
Yep.
swimming, and the final thing is French braiding. It was something
Oh,
at the pool. There was a friend of mine, her mother would French braid her hair. My mom didn't know how, and I used to always be angry at her for that, which is so funny. But I loved running around with my French braid. I felt so beautiful and all the things, and it just felt really special to me. And so now, as an adult, I have a chiropractic patient who French braids. She's been teaching me how to French
Oh,
braid. So when she comes into
oh,
to the office, I see I'm
oh my
practicing my
God.
French braid, and to me, that is such a feeling of that's something when I was younger, I always said when I'm older, I want to know how to French braid, and I want to French braid my girl's hair. And so
Yeah.
now I'm actually learning, and somebody's teaching me. So
Look
like,
at that. Look at that. And
yeah,
like the French braiding, like if you're actually in alignment and you're in your own bliss, guys, we can monetize anything. There's people making millions putting farts in jars. You could make money being a French braider because you love it. You could make
yes,
money playing your guitar because you love it. Like my oldest, he's a jazz saxophone player. And I have taught this man to follow his bliss because we can monetize anything. But what we're doing is we're trying to do the right thing, the responsible thing. And then we're wondering, especially middle age, like, why are we
absolutely.
unhappy? Well, because we actually want to be French braiding, bro. And so
Yes.
this is your invitation to do that more.
It for sure is. But
I love it.
yes, thank you so much for being here. I know we could talk for freaking ever, but
Yes.
you just light up the room and you have the most beautiful, pure energy. And I do see the frequencies of joy. I see bliss, authenticity, courage, all the things, but you have a very youthful young spirit. And I love you a lot. And I know I'm gonna re-listen to this 100%. And I know my listener here is going to love it too. So you just gave so many tidbits and helping with the self-talk and questioning, questioning and talking to yourself. I just feel like deep connection relationship with yourself, but there's literally so many nuggets of wisdom. Like I'm not just saying, I'm like, you tie
Take
it all
one.
to like
Pick
so
one, two.
much.
Don't feel like you
Yeah,
guys, listeners, do not try to do all the things that we go into cognitive shutdown. Take
right.
one nugget and go play with it for a month, and then let us know on
So
Instagram like what
good.
you're playing with so we can be part of your journey and part of your story and help you and support you. But thank you for reflecting that back to me, babe. That is received. And
Mm,
I love you too. And look at this was a beautiful conversation that we had
yes.
with two brain cells on my side.
I love it. Do you have anything else you want to share? Anything you have upcoming you want to lead them to? I'll put all your information below. And then obviously, yes, we want you guys to reach out and share with us on Instagram how it impacted you.
Yeah,
Anything
come play
else?
with me on Instagram at Brooke Jean Unperfected. I keep it real. We have a large assortment of things that I put on there. And yeah, that's where you will be in the know of the programs I'm
Amazing.
offering and the things that I'm doing. Also, the Unperfected Pod, my podcast. You were a guest.
Yes.
Come check that out and just, yeah, take care of yourselves and there for each other.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Gonna be posting this soon.
Awesome. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.